Dan, what are you hearing about the future of Jason Garrett in Dallas?
Yeah, first, I just want to say, you could tell Orlovsky the Eagles are only using 10 guys this week, and he would still tell you why they're going to win the game because of how great the quarterback is. So, man, it's all in. Never have 17 points been more over-celebrated on a Monday morning. However, when we talk about the Cowboys, it's the same as it's been all year. Before the season started, Jason Garrett had to make a deep playoff run in order to save his job. That's still true, and mathematically, it's still possible. So if they were to win and the Eagles were to lose Sunday, then obviously they're not going to get rid of Jason Garrett in a week where they're preparing to play a playoff game. If those things don't happen, I would think you would expect the Cowboys to make a change at head coach, possibly as early as next week, moving out Garrett and starting to interview people. But it's amazing how consistent this story has been since August, and it's still where it stood back then, except their record is terrible.
Dan, if they make a change, the Cowboys, who would they go to?
Well, that's the thing. We've heard, Urban Meyer connected as a person of interest there and other places, and it's possible they would explore that. The college ranks include Matt Rule at Baylor, who's a guy that I think a number of teams are interested in talking to. You look around the landscape at the Mike McCarthy, Ron Rivera types who have some experience, could fit there. It's a unique job. Whoever goes there, and we've talked about this as well, has to understand what the landscape is, how Jerry Jones is going to be out talking on the radio all the time and talking to media after games. And, you're going to want to just be the coach and not have to necessarily have the personnel control some of these guys might want to have. So it'll be interesting to watch. It should be, like I said, a unique opening.
Thanks, Dan Graziano, for joining us, and also thanks for the Dan on Dan crime there.
Yeah, Graziano, I know where you live, so be very careful.
Quite near each other, actually, for that matter. All right, so he threw a bunch of names in there that I find really interesting, and the first one he said is Matt Rule. Now, Matt Rule is a guy who was up for some NFL coaching jobs a year ago. The Jets wouldn't let him pick his own staff, otherwise he would have been the head coach of the Jets now. He did a really good job at Baylor this year. And in a recent interview, I liked what he said. He was like, look, I don't rule things out. He's not one of these phonies. So Matt Rule becomes a pretty intriguing possibility along with Lincoln Riley and Urban Meyer. Of those three college guys, do you see one of those guys wanting that job?
I think Matt Rule would probably be the highest of the list of wanting it for themselves. I would actually say that Lincoln Riley still probably isn't really considering it as much as people want him to. I mean, everyone wants to put Lincoln Riley on the Cowboys, and he just doesn't seem to me like a guy that wants to do that. I think he enjoys the college game, and I think he's still chasing that elusive national championship, which seems to be incredibly difficult to get. And then Urban Meyer, to me, Greeny, is such a wild card. I don't think it's realistic right now. I just think Urban's kind of listening to some of this. And Dan, he has the flexibility to listen right now. He's not doing anything else except broadcasting. He's not actually coaching. But I do think Matt Rule might be legitimately interested, and I think his personality fits well in the NFL with NFL players.
Yeah, I've long said if I was going to make a call to a college coach, the first call would be to Matt Rule. I've said that for about 2 years now. The second call would be to Lincoln Riley. And I know that we want to peg Lincoln Riley in there, but there is also some reasons. I believe he's from that area in some way, grew up a huge Cowboys fan. And I do, chasing that national championship. How likely are you to go get it at Oklahoma with all the teams that you have to play in the college football playoff? And the fact that I think this has been his best coaching year. I think that he has shown to be more than just an offensive mind. He has shown to have adaptability. He has shown to be able to be flexible. He's shown incredible leadership to get this football team back to the college football playoff. Also, different type of offenses. We saw one offense with Baker Mayfield. Then we saw another offense with Kyler Murray. And we've seen a totally different offense with Jalen Hurts. So there is the X's and O's mind there, as well as I do think that Lincoln Riley has taken a step forward in the ability to be the leader of an organization. And when your potential dream job presents itself, I think that's going to be very difficult to say no to.
Why do you think, D-Wood?
Well, I've been on the Matt Rule train. I was hyping Matt Rule for the Jets job, last year because the one thing about Matt Rule, he's a program builder. That's the one thing. He did it at Temple, turned him around quick, went to Baylor, had Baylor basically brought him from the brink of death to playing in the Big 12 championship game. So this guy knows how to build programs.
And a caveat with the Cowboys is, again, Dak Prescott has had his best year ever. And so if you decide to move on from Jason Garrett, do you keep Kellen Moore and John Kitna, who have had tremendous impact on Dak Prescott. Like, how does it all work out? Because the head coach you hire, does he want to keep those two guys to run his offense?
And oh, by the way, not mentioned practically in any of that is Urban Meyer, overwhelmingly the most successful of the group that we're talking about.
We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, make sure you subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.